Hey, this is Eric Pratt with Gun Owners of America. Thanks so much for watching. I want to encourage you to please share this video with your pro-gun family members and friends because there's some important news happening right now, such as the new ATF director who's been nominated. Sadly, President Trump has picked someone to lead the Bureau who supports gun control. But more on that in a moment. I want to begin with one of the cases that we have before the Supreme Court. I know that a lot of you have been closely following our Kettler case, which defends a disabled veteran and challenges the National Firearms Act. Well, in a bit of good news, attorneys general from 8 states have joined in support of our lawsuit. So here's the list. I'll read it to you. Attorney generals from Arkansas, Idaho, Kansas, Louisiana, Montana, South Carolina, Texas, and Utah. They have all asked the Supreme Court to review the case. So this is great news. We're excited about that, and we're very hopeful that the Supreme Court will take this case up. No doubt the backing from these 8 states goes a long way to help our case. You probably remember from us talking about this previously that this is the legal challenge that strikes deep to the heart of the NFA and actually could go a long way towards repealing it. Now, we're often asked, well, how can I help you guys in this Kettler case? Because, lawsuits are different from legislative battles where you can just pick up the phone and call your congressman. Really, the best way to help us with our Kettler defense is to donate using the link that you see on the screen and in the description. I know that already many of you have contributed, and we are very grateful for that. Now, speaking of battles where you can pick up the phone to call your legislators, there's the ATF story that I mentioned earlier. Again, President Trump has nominated a director who supports gun control, and he's picked him to lead the ATF. His name is Chuck Canterbury, and he's the president of the anti-gun FOP. That's the Fraternal Order of Police. Now, Canterbury has a long track record that should concern gun owners. He's testified before Congress to support anti-gunners like Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor and Attorney General Eric Holder. Under his watch, the FOP backed congressional measures to expand the unconstitutional and failing NICS system, which, by the way, is the same system where 95% of the initial denials are false positives. But also on the state level, the FOP under Canterbury's watch has opposed constitutional carry. And, that's really heinous. But what's interesting, I find, is that there are differing views on Canterbury in the pro-gun movement. Some people have been pointing to a quote of his where he says that he takes a backseat to no one in his reverence for the Second Amendment. Well, here's the problem, though. Canterbury did make that statement, but his very next sentence was to express support for the anti-gun Sotomayor for the Supreme Court. So it's kind of like when Chuck Schumer says, I support the Second Amendment, but we need common sense gun control. Canterbury was basically saying, yeah, I support the Second Amendment, even though I support Sonia Sotomayor, who, as we all know, is very anti-gun. Sotomayor voted against us on the McDonald decision. Before that, she had signed on to a case which said that there was no fundamental right to possess a gun. So she is anti-gun. And for Canterbury to support her, that just shows he's not as committed to the Second Amendment as we'd like him to be or as he needs to be. So look, Canterbury has taken, he's taken a pro-gun stand on some things, but when you hold up his entire record to the standard of shall not be infringed in the Second Amendment, we at GOA just simply cannot support him. So I would encourage you, please contact your senators with the link on the screen or in the description and urge them to reject the Canterbury nomination for somebody who's 100% pro-gun. That's very important. Now, I know probably some of you are thinking, well, the ATF shouldn't exist at all, right? Unless it's a convenience store. Well, we at GOA would agree with that, but really, until we can dismantle the ATF, it should be, it shouldn't be led by a director like Canterbury who supports gun control. So anyway, thanks for your activism on that. This is a very important battle to be engaged in. So anyway, on a positive note, let me tell you about a friend of mine, a firearms instructor named Rick Kettler, who hosted an event in Detroit, Michigan recently where he trained over 800 women on firearm safety and function. GOA was there, and we gave each of the ladies a pink hat. Looks like this. They absolutely love these, and you can also find these on our website, by the way, for the ladies in your life. Anyway, I got to speak with the ladies there, sharing with them some stories of women using guns in self-defense and encouraging them to make their voices heard here in Washington, because there are some congressmen who are trying to disarm them. And this actually piqued the interest of many of them, so they decided to sign up with GOA to get future notifications on threat to their gun rights. It was really encouraging to see so many women interested in firearms and self-defense. It was a fantastic event. And next year, Rick and I will be pushing to train over 1,000 women. So as you can see, GOA has a lot going on. We're fighting a lot of battles on many fronts, and more times than not, we're winning. But this is only possible because of our vocal members. So thank you for your passionate support of the Second Amendment and for your support of GOA. Thank you.